Hari Om. We shall chant from verse number 17. Yastvatmaratirev syat atmatriptascha manavah atmanneva cha santushtah tasya karyam na vidyate नैव तस्य कृतेनार्थः न कृतेनेह कश्चन न चास्य सर्वभूतेषु कश्चिदर्थव्यपाश्रयः तस्मादसक्तः सततम् कार्यं कर्म समाचर असक्तो ह्याचरन् कर्म परमाप्नोति पुरुषः कर्मणैव हि संसिद्धिम् आस्थिता जनकादयः लोकसंग्रहमेवापि सम्पश्यन् कर्तुमर्हसि यद्यदाचरति श्रेष्ठः तत्तदेवेतरो जनः स यत्प्रमाणं कुरुते लोकस्तदनुवर्तते न मे पार्थास्ति कर्तव्यम् त्रिषु किंचन नानवाप्तमवाप्तव्यम् वर्त एव च कर्मणि यदि यहं न वर्तेयम् जातु कर्मण्यतन्द्रितः मम वर्त्मानुवर्तन्ते मनुष्या पार्थ सर्वशः उत्सीदेयुरिमे लोकाः न कुर्यां कर्म चेदहम् शङ्करस्य च कर्ता स्याम् उपहन्यामि मः प्रजाः। So we have to follow the path of dharma. We have to keep performing our duties till we attain our final goal of self-realization. So till that time, we have something to gain by doing and something to lose by not doing our action. So we have to follow the path of dharma for our own welfare. But once we attain that state of enlightenment, we no longer need the karma for our own sake. But an enlightened person continues to perform karma for the welfare of the world. So who is an enlightened person? He says one who has realized his own self. Atmani yastu atmaratireva syat atmatriptascha manavaha. One who has recognized the self, the I, the supreme self, realized it, and one who is constantly reveling in that self alone. In the second chapter also we saw the Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Bhagwan said that Prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan atmani eva atmana tushtaha sthita prajnastadochyate. A person who is free of all his kamna, there are no desires left, and one who is completely content and satisfied in his own self is called an enlightened person. So an enlightened person doesn't have anything to gain, doesn't have anything to lose, and therefore Bhagwan tells Arjuna that you have not reached this stage, so you have to continue performing actions without having any attachment and offering all your actions to Ishvara. And following this path of action, many have reached the state of enlightenment. He gives example of Janak Maharaj, who was also Kshatriya. Following this path, he attained that state of enlightenment. And he continued as an enlightened person, he continued ruling the kingdom also. So you also do in the same way. And what is the inspiration for an enlightened person to work? He says they do it for the sake of the world. Loka sangrahame vapi. Out of compassion, out of kindness for the world, they continue working. Loka sangraha. To prevent people from going in the wrong direction, we have to set example. If good examples are not set in the society, people try to follow whatever example is in front. So good example has to be set, and ultimately the guidance we have to take from our scriptures, the Vedas, the Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, the Puranas. They are like the guides on this earth. So how Loka Sangra happens? That people follow the person whom they consider as Shrestha. So whatever, sometimes we follow a wrong person also. So we should have the discrimination, the understanding that who is a Shrestha Purush, who is a good person, a dharmic person, and sincerely follow that person. So yad yad acharati Shrestha tattadeve itaro janaha. Bhagwan gives his own example. He said, look at me. I don't have anything to gain in this world, nor do I have anything to lose, nor do I depend on anyone. Bhagwan doesn't depend on our, what you call, puja and archana and all. When we go to the temple, we check, kitna paisa de de Bhagwan ko. Bhagwan doesn't depend on all this. He says, I don't depend on any of this, but still I continue working, because if I don't work, the whole world will collapse. People will take my example and they will stop working. So for the sake of dharma, to establish dharma, paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sansthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Bhagwan says, to establish dharma, I have taken this avatar, so I cannot just renounce all this work, so I keep on doing, so that others can learn from me and they can follow. So you also do in the same way. Further, Bhagwan gives some guidance to a person who is enlightened, to a person who is knowledgeable about the self, who doesn't have anything to gain or lose from this world. For them also, Bhagwan gives a little guidance here in the following 2 verses. He says, Sakta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata kuryad vidvans tatha saktah Chikirshurloka sangraham sakta karmanya vidvamsaha yatha kurvanti bharata Chikirshurloka sangraham. He Bharata, he Arjuna, कि सक्ता कर्मणि अविद्वांसः यथा कुर्वन्ति. As an ignorant person, avidvamsah, an ignorant person. Who is an ignorant person? Who doesn't know his own supreme self is called an ignorant person. Person might have great degrees and scholarship in this world, but one who is unaware about his own true self is called ignorant person, having avidya, having ajnana. And but we might say that, oh, I know who am I. I know my name, I know where I stay, I know my parents' name, I have certificate also, birth certificate, so I know. So whatever I know about myself is about myself actually. I know about the body, I know about the mind, I know about the education which again is acquired by the mind and all. But the real self, the I, is not known. I know that I am there, I exist, but exactly who am I don't know. What I tell about myself is only about my equipments, only about the upadhis, only about the outer structure, but not about me. The only thing I know about me that I exist. I was existing when I was born, and I am existing now. All that I tell about myself have changed. A lot of things have changed. Parents may not have changed, but lot of things about my body, about my mind, everything has changed. Sometimes people undergo so much of transformation in their personality. Sometimes purposely we go to some special camps and all to transform personality, to become a positive person, to smile even when we are unhappy. So I might transform my body, my mind and all, but still I have not recognized myself, because it's very subtle. That even when I separate myself, I get separated from these equipments in the deep sleep state. I remain alone, separated from everything. Still I don't know myself. Still I get up ignorant only. So one who is ignorant about his own self is identified with the equipments, with our body, mind, and consider them as myself. So that is the effect of this ajnana. Effect of avidya, we identify with the body and consider it as I. We identify with the mind, consider it as I. And the activities which are happening in the body, mind, I consider them as my own activities. All the desires which arise, I consider my desires. So one who has got this type of identification, this type of attitude, that I am performing this action because I want to fulfill this desire, I will get this result. Such a person is called avidvan. So this avidvan also has to be, also follows the should follow the path of dharma. So an avidvan person, ignorant person, when he is following this path of dharma to attain that supreme, no doubt he is ignorant, and wise person knows something better, but a wise person should not disturb him. He says that kuryad vidvans tatha saktah chikirshul loka sangraham. The vidvan person should also work like an ignorant person, but keeping the goal of loka sangraha in the mind. Should not stop all activities, should continue doing whatever dharmic karma, dharmic path he can also follow, but with the intention of bringing about loka sangraha. An ignorant person does it to gain some benefit, to gain some punya, or to go to heaven, or to get some material things in this world. That is the intention behind an ignorant person. The wise person should also do good karmas, but for the sake of loka sangraha. Because after seeing a wise person following the good path, others also feel inspired and they also do. in whatever field. Like our Pujya Gurudev, he also used to continue with his sadhana and all, so that others get inspired and others also follow it. They themselves might not be in need of this, but when they follow, others also then they follow. They also feel inspired. They say, my teacher is doing this sadhana, so let me also do it. So for the sake of the world, a person, even though he is wise, should continue working, but without any attachment. So sakta means with attachment, karmani avidvamsah yatha kurvanti. Like an ignorant person works with attachment, a wise person should also work, but without attachment, for the welfare of the world. So this is advice given to the wise, to those who are established in that truth. Bhagavan says that you should continue in that direction. No doubt they do it, because only after following the path of goodness one reaches the state of enlightenment. So an enlightened person will not be going on a wrong path. But yes, even for a seeker who is on that path, this advice is valid. That when you are following this path, even though you know that it is expression of ignorance, but still you continue for the welfare of the world. So kuryad vidvams tatha saktah chikirshul loka sangraham. Little bit more about the same thought Bhagavan continues in the next verse. He says, na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam joshayet sarva karmani vidvan yuktas samacharan na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. A wise person should not create buddhi bhed in an ignorant person. Na buddhi bhedam janayet ajnanam karma sanginam. Those who are ignorant and those who are attached to their karma. So ignorant, as I said, one who is not aware of his own self, one who has not realized his own self as that Brahma. Therefore, we have identification with our body, we have desires, and to fulfill those desires, we follow the path of dharma with the intention that I will do this karma and I will get this result. So those who are following this path, one should not create confusion in their mind. Should not say that, oh, all this is wrong, you are that Brahma, why you want to do this work and all sorts of things. One should, because that is, just by telling it, one cannot reach that state of knowledge. And when we create confusion in their mind, they give up their work and either they will become lazy or start doing adharma or paradharma. When a person is following the path of goodness, however, whatever be the stage in which that person is, it is good for that person only, because ultimately he will reach the ultimate goal. So one should not create confusion in their mind, otherwise it leads to confusion not only in an individual but in the whole society also. So Bhagavan says that one should engage ignorant person in different types of activities which are good for them. They might not be good for the wise person, or they might not be beneficial for the wise person. This with a simple example you can learn. Like we have our primary school or our kindergarten, whatever it is. वहाँ पर जाके पढ़ाते हैं. So little children, so the teacher also teaches, she also dances, she also sings, she also does all sorts of what you call अलग अलग चीज़ करनी पड़ती है उनको बच्चों के साथ. That teacher herself or himself may not require it, but for the sake of the children, she continues doing it. Because if she says, ये तो सब बेकार है, ये जैक एंजल ऑफ द हिल क्या करना है, मैंने पढ़ लिया, कुछ फ़ायदा नहीं हो गया. Wherever I went for interview, they never asked me, do you know Jack Angel of the Hill? So he should not create confusion in their mind, but teach them, because it is beneficial. Slowly and steadily, they will reach. Similarly, we find in the society people at different stages of spiritual evolution. Some are at that level where they go on tirtha yatras, they do different types of rituals, go to the temple, go follow certain vrata, Monday fasting, Tuesday something other vrata or something like that. All these are good, they will take us towards our goal. But as we move ahead, these things get dropped behind. All those things which were very useful in the initial stage, you might not be having any purpose in them. But one should not disregard them, should not create confusion in the society and say that, oh, ये सब useless है. Because it disturbs the balance of people. Of course, if they are doing adharma, one should guide them. But if a person is following the path of dharma, however low, at whatever stage that person is, one should encourage that person to follow it so that slowly and steadily he reaches the goal. So, na buddhi bhedam janayed. This advice is given. Our Pujya Gurudev is to dramatize it like a crowd is moving in one direction. Even though you know that it is a wrong direction, don't stand in front and say and wave and say that, oh, stop, it is a wrong direction. They will just pulverize you and go over you. So join them and slowly turn them in the right direction. Guide them properly. So guidance to the leader is given here. The leader should be able to mingle with the crowd, should be able to connect with all people whom he is trying to follow, and then slowly guide them in the right path. So Joshayet Sarva Karmani should engage everyone into different types of actions which are good for them, for their welfare. Vidvan Yuktas Samacharan, remaining totally integrated, remaining balanced. The Vidwan, the wise person, should guide the ignorant person who are attached to karmas slowly towards the supreme goal, not abruptly. It's like we are driving our car and then we are in certain speed, then suddenly we come to know that it is the wrong direction which we have taken. It will not lead to my goal. So suddenly if I apply brake and all, it is not good. So should continue moving and wait for the right exit and then come on the right path. Similarly, even though from the higher standpoint, what we are doing at the lower level is totally useless, but at that level, for those people, it is useful. So without creating confusion in the society, you keep moving, keep taking people on the right path. This is very important. See, we have different problems. One is people have starting trouble. So they don't start only. So if people are doing something, let them continue on that path and slowly, steadily guide them in the right direction. So, Joshayet Sarva Karmani Vidvan Yuktas Samacharan. Now, again and again it was said Avidvan or Adnyan. So, what exactly is the Adnyan? And what is that attitude which is there in this Ajnanis, that Bhagavan now reveals in the next verse. He says, Prakrite kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashah ahankara vimodhatma kartahamiti manyate prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashah ahankara vimodhatma kartahamiti manyate. He says, Prakrite kriyamanani gunaihi karmani sarvashah. Some technical facts about how actions happen. Bhagavan says that all action, sarvashah karmani, prakritehe gunaihi kriyamanani, that all actions are happen according to the gunas of Prakriti. What is now this Prakriti? See, further also as we study Bhagavad Gita, it will become more and more clear. This Prakriti, which is also called Maya, is Ishvara Shakti. Ishvara, that supreme reality. Brahma is also called Ishvara, and that Ishvara has got his own power with which he creates this world. So without undergoing any change, any modification in himself, he creates this world of matter as well as life. So that matter is called Prakriti and that life is called Purusha. In simple term I am saying. So this Purusha and Prakriti, both of them are projected or created by that great Ishvara. So this Prakriti is his Shakti, which also is called Maya. And all that we see, this material world, is the effect of this Prakriti only. The five great elements which we see, Akash, Vayu, Agni, Jal, Prithvi, then the expression of these five elements as Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha. We experience these five elements as Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, as sound, as touch, etc. We experience them through our senses. So the five organs of perception. And then we interact with the world with the organs of action. So five organs of action. Then we have called the Antakaran Chatushtay, Mana, Buddhi, Chitta, Ahankar. All these are the effect of Prakriti only. All of them are the effect of Prakriti. They are made from Prakriti. Prakriti, which has got three gunas, all of them are the product of Prakriti. Product of the gunas of Prakriti. Our body, the senses, our Antakarana, all of them are product of Prakriti. And this Prakriti is seen by us, is experienced by us. And the one who is experiencing this Prakriti is called Purusha. I, who am aware of this Prakriti and experiencing this Prakriti, is called Purusha. That Purusha is the Jiva. That Purusha is also called Kshetrajna. Different terms are there. All will become clear as we go along. Bhagavan actually gives a hint here, then he explains in detail in some other chapter. So all actions which we see happen in Prakriti, not in Purusha, not in I. It happens in all actions happen in Prakriti only. So, for example, my hand is moving, this hand is Prakriti. The pranas and all are making it move, that is also part of Prakriti. The desire which comes in my mind to move the hand, that is also part of Prakriti. So the desire comes because of the past karmas, they have left some samskar, that's also Prakriti. So in Prakriti the desire comes and that activates the action to happen, and the actions happen. All this happen in Prakriti only, not in the Purusha. That Purusha is I. The Prakriti is something different from me. But because of ignorance, as I said, ignorance is not knowing myself. Because of ignorance, this Prakriti, I take it as myself. I have, by mistake, because of ignorance, taken the Prakriti as my own self. I consider this body as myself. Though the body's experience as idam, as this. Just like I experience this watch as this, I can see it. Similarly, I can see my hand. So the one who is seeing is different, but still I take the body as myself. Similarly, I take the senses as myself. I take the mind as myself. I consider them as myself. So that considering this Prakriti, part of Prakriti, as myself is called Ahankar. Is also taught in the Antakarana. It's called Ahankar. Shankaracharya ji defines Ahankar. Karya Karana Sanghata Atma Pratyaya Ahankaraha. To have the notion of I in the body as well as in the senses and the Antakarana is called Ahankar. Usko मैं समझना. They are my dress, they are different from me, but to consider that as myself is called Ahankar. So this Ahankar is where in the Antakarana only. And because of that, the Antakarana has become totally confused and a lot of different types of desires and all arise because of that. And I have by mistake considered myself as that and get more and more deluded. So it's a complex situation which has occurred. So ahankara vimodhatma karta ahamiti manyate. So one who is deluded by this ahankar, the antakarana which is deluded by ahankar, by mistake I consider that as myself, or I consider Purusha as the doer. Anyway, it will become okay as we go along. Technical stuff. It's like the electricity. Electricity is not doing any work in real sense. All the happening is happening in the what you call the equipment, like this fan which is moving. The electricity is not moving, but the fan is moving. In the presence of electricity, the fan is moving. All the actions are happening in the fan. Similarly, in the presence of that Purusha, the Prakriti is performing all different types of action. Purusha is not performing. But by mistake, because of avidya, I consider myself as the doer. So that is the great effect of ignorance, and because of which we are caught up in this samsara. So ahankara vimodhatma karta ahamiti manyate. Bhagwan is making it clear to Arjuna that you are at this stage, a stage of ignorance, having the sense of doership, strong sense of doership, having lot of desires, and you want to fulfill those desires. So if you have all these things, you have to follow the path of dharma. Then slowly and steadily you will reach the state of enlightenment. So having said this, the state of ignorant person, Bhagwan now compares an ignorant person with the wise person. What is the state of a wise person? What wisdom has he gained? He says in the next verse, Tattva vittu mahabaho gunakarma vibhagayoh guna guneshu vartante इति मत्वा न सज्जते तत्त्ववित्तु महाबाहो गुणकर्म विभागयोः. Tattvavit, Bhagavan says, the one who has realized that supreme reality is called Tattvavit. That supreme reality is called Tattva, the essence. One who is the knower of that essence. And that supreme reality is my own self. One who is the knower of that self is called Tattvavit. Bhagavan says, Tattvavittu Mahabaho, Hey Arjuna, Hey Mahabaho, one who has got long arms and all, is called Mahabahu. So, Hey Mahabaho, this Tattvavit, what does he know? He knows Guna Karma Vibhagayoho. He knows the secret not only of the Purusha, but he also knows the secret of this Prakriti. He knows the division of Guna and Karma. He knows the different factors of this Prakriti and what are their functions. As I said, the 24 factors are there, and each one of them, they have their own functions. Just like we have our mobile, and even youngsters, they know different functions of what are there and how to do this and how to put this. Yeah. Especially smartphones require smart people to use it. Many times we use, but we don't know what to do. You suddenly start ringing in the middle of the satsang and you don't know what to do. So, you are the user, but you don't know. So, what are the various features which are there? How they function? What are the different parts? What is the hardware? What is the software? And how it functions? There are some people who are expert in it. Similarly, our body, mind, intellect, senses, the world of 5 elements, all of them are Prakriti, the transformation of the gunas of Prakriti, and each one of them, they have their own function. So, guna, karma, vibhagayoho tattvaved. So, the knower of the essence of Prakriti, essence of Purusha, essence of the Supreme is called tattvaved. He knows that these are the gunas and these are their karma. So, when any action is happening, a wise person knows that guna guneshu vartante. That the body made up of gunas is interacting with the world which is made up of gunas. The senses made up of gunas is interacting with the respective objects which are also made up of gunas. The mind which is made up of gunas is interacting again with whatever stimuli it is receiving from the world. So the whole thing is happening in the world of Prakriti only. I, the Purusha, is just a witness of all these things. It's becoming a little heavy. See, this is our experience also. Let us go back to our beautiful experience of sleep. In sleep also you are present. In the dream also you are present. In the waking also. Each one of us, we have these 3 states of experience. Waking state, Jagrat Avastha, Swapna Avastha, and Sushupti Avastha. How do we experience it? What is called Jagrat? When we experience the world through our senses, when we experience the world of objects through our senses, it is called the Jagrat Avastha. When our senses get withdrawn, after working the whole day, the senses become tired. Because all the time we have to see, hear, taste, touch, constantly the senses become tired. So they withdraw and go into the mind, into the antakarana. But the mind doesn't get tired very fast. So when the senses are withdrawn and goes into the antakarana, it is called sleep. But since the mind is active, it is called dream. So we are unaware of the world outside, but we create our own world with the help of the samskar in the mind. अंदर से अंदर पूरा जगत हम निर्माण करते हैं, एंड वी कीप लुकिंग एट दैट वर्ल्ड. So this goes on for some time. After some time the mind also becomes tired, and when the mind becomes tired, the mind also rests in Prakriti. If mind becomes tamasic, it gets overpowered by tamogun. At that time there is nothing is there, no thoughts are coming in the mind and no experience of the world. The mind has become dull. So mind is not functioning. But that state also, that Purusha is aware of it. The Purusha doesn't go to sleep. I, the Purusha, I, the Kshetrajna, I, the witness consciousness, doesn't go to sleep. So he is aware of that also. Therefore, when I wake up, I say, oh, I slept very well. How do you know? Because I was there. So I, who is aware of that mind going to sleep, mind waking up and creating dream, or mind fully awake, I who is aware of that, there is no activity happening in I, but all activities happen only in this mind, intellect, the world outside and all. And they are made up of gunas. So all interaction is happening between one guna and another guna. Guna guneshu vartante. So body as guna interacts with the world as guna. So this vision is clear in a Atmajnani, in a wise person. He sees it as clearly as we see something else. So he sees the whole thing very clearly. So guna guneshu vartante iti matva, having understood this deeply, na sajjate, doesn't get attached to anything. It's neither attached to the desire, nor attached to the karmas, nor attached to the result of karma. When the desire comes in his mind, he is not attached to it. When the actions are happening, he is not attached. When the result comes, he is not attached. So guna guneshu vartante iti matva na sajjate. So this is the state of a jnani. Therefore, Bhagavan encourages Arjuna that you work on, follow the path of Karma Yoga and slowly attain the state of Jnana. Further, he says, Prakrite guna sammudhaha sajjante guna karmasu Tana Krishna Vido Mandan Krishna Vinna Vichalayet Prakrite Guna Sammudhaha. Prakritehe guna sammudhaha. So the ignorant person who doesn't know this mechanism, he considers when the activities in the Prakriti is happening, he considers them as his own activity. It's like suppose you are watching a movie. The movie is happening there on the screen and you are sitting here comfortably. But after watching that movie for some time, we start identifying with the characters there. So much so that if there is some frightening scene and the hero is getting frightened, you also get frightened. When that fellow is laughing, you also laugh. When that fellow is sad, you also are sad. Now, आपका और उसका कुछ संबंध नहीं है. It's just a screen and some light and shadow and some sound. No relationship. बिल्कुल कुछ नहीं है. You are just the witness of that movie. But first we are witness. चलो जाते देखते movie. You don't even know the name. Your friends have taken you. So you sit in the theater. So you are just a witness. You look here, there, कौन आ गया है, क्या हो रहा है ये. Then the movie begins. So then you start wondering क्या है, क्या नाम है, क्या है. So you become the knower. You start थोड़ा सा interest आ जाता है. So you become the knower of that movie. And as you start indulging more and more, you become the bhokta of that movie also. You start experiencing whatever is happening there. And there are some people who become karta also. Some fighting is going on, they एक दूसरे को यहाँ पर भी पीटते हैं. Or if that fellow is crying, he start crying here. So without any rhyme and reason, just sitting in front of the movie, I become the karta, bhokta, jnata. And that karta, bhokta, jnata is called the jiva who has got identified with it. But when I suddenly become aware of the whole situation, I again remain as witness. Similarly, this Prakriti is the movie which is happening in front of us. We have identified with it so much that even after being told, it doesn't click. So, but the intelligent, wise person is one who has understood this. So it is said, कि प्रकृते गुण सम्मूढ़ाः, the ignorant person who is totally confused by the activities of this Prakriti, and one who is attached to the all these activities as well as the expressions of Prakriti, sajjante guna karmasu, by just stopping that person, by just telling that person that it is all wrong will not help. So a wise person, what should that person do? He says, Tan akrishna vidaha mandan krishnavin na vichalayet. A wise person should not disturb that fellow. Again the advice is given. A wise person should not disturb an ignorant person who is totally involved with this world by just giving a very wise statement to him. One should not disturb, but let that person continue in this, and slowly and steadily will get out of it. This is very important. Therefore, we have in our scriptures, we have different categories are there, and those right from a simple teaching on Karma Yoga to all the way to the Upanishads and Brahma Sutras and all. So in the initial stages, one should learn about Karma Yoga, about Upasana, about how to do japa, how to do puja, how to do some ritual, how to pray, how to do our duties properly, how to control our mind, and all sorts of things we teach. But later on we say, you are totally different from all this, you are that Brahma, no action happen in you. All actions are happening in this. So this knowledge, the supreme knowledge, if it comes in the head of a person at the wrong time, might disturb that person. So here it is said that without disturbing the person, without creating confusion in that person, joshayet sarva karmani, engage that person in different activities, slowly and steadily he will reach the destination. So tan akrishna vido mandan krishnavin na vichalayet. Wise person should not disturb an ignorant person. So having said this, now the question is, okay, so I am ignorant, I have these desires, I am attached to my body, I have this idea that this kartavya karma I have to do to gain this result. How should I act? How should I work? What is the meaning of this karma yoga? How should I perform my action? That please tell me again in a simple way. So in the following verse, Bhagavan gives the gist of karma yoga. After giving all the reasons why we should act, why it is not wise to give up action, what type of action we should perform, what is the ultimate state which we reach after performing this action, that state of enlightenment, how an enlightened person should act. After seeing all this, now Bhagavan gives the gist of Karma Yoga. See, the whole Bhagavad Gita is very logical, very rational and very systematic text, where the whole art of how to live in this world, righteous living, is revealed beautifully. So let us chant that verse. Mai sarvani karmani sanyasyaadhyatma cetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva युध्यस्व विगतज्वरः मयि सर्वाणि कर्माणि सन्न्यस्याध्यात्मचेतसा. Bhagavan says that sarvani karmani mayi sannyasya, dedicating all your actions to me, adhyatma cetasa, with your mind, with your proper understanding, you dedicate all your actions to me, nirashir nirmamo bhutva, without having becoming free of all expectation, nirashihi, nirmamaha, becoming free of all the sense of possession, mamatva, and vigatajvaraha, becoming free of all disturbance or afflictions. Yudhyasva, you fight this war. Now for Arjuna, fighting the war was his kartavya karma. So what is said is, first of all, he says that sarvani karmani, all the actions, all actions here means all our kartavya karma. Right from the time we get up in the morning till the time we go to sleep, we have our whole kartavya karma towards our body, towards family, towards society, towards the devatas, towards the ancestors, towards the rishi munis, towards nature. We have our own responsibilities. So we have to just fulfill those responsibilities as sevak of Ishvara, that he has given me this job, he has given me this life, he has put me in this place, and I have to do this work for him. There's a great sense of joy will also come when we understand that Ishvara, who is Ishvara, and I am his sevak. Even that feeling will give us great joy. So who is Ishvara? He says, Shankaracharya writes, Mai Vasudeve, who is Vasudev. Vasudev is one who does the Vas. Vas means Nivas. जिनका निवास सब में है, उसको वासुदेव कहते हैं. सबके हृदय में जिनका निवास है. Vasudeve, Parameshware, who is the Param Ishvara, the great master of this entire cosmos. Sarvajne, who is Sarvajna, who is the knower of everything. Sarvatmani, who is the self of all. Unto him we have to dedicate all our karmas. Walking, talking, eating, everything. All the karmas which are happening through our body, our senses, by our mind, everything should be dedicated to Ishvara, with that attitude that I am doing this for Ishvara. I am living for Ishvara, and everything, whatever is happening, I am doing it for him, and whatever result I get, it comes from him. Work for him. See, जैसे हम किसी कंपनी में काम करते हैं और we work in some organization and all, one should have the attitude that I am working for Ishvara, in the service of the Lord. ऐसा नहीं कि you have to give up your job and all, but wherever you are, you should consider that you are basically working for Ishvara. So, Mai Sarvani Karmani Sanyasya, surrendering all the actions to me, means what? Means Adhyatma Chetasa, with that Viveka Buddhi, with the feeling, with the attitude in our heart that I am doing this all action for Ishvara like his sevak. aham karta ishvaraya bhrityavat karomi, like that, कि I am his sevak, that I am doing this karma for Ishvara. That attitude should be there. Nirashihi. Nirashi means not nirash, becoming depressed and dejected we should work. Nirasha means without asha, without expectation. Without expectation means without having that thing that ऐसा होना चाहिए वैसा होना चाहिए, without having our own personal expectation, we have to continue doing our duties. Whatever is good for us, whatever is for my own welfare, it will come to me. The result will come to me as per my whatever I deserve and what is good for me. So I should just keep on doing my duties. So nirashihi nirmamaha bhutva, without having sense of possession towards myself, towards the action, towards the result of action, towards the people who are involved, towards the objects which are there, having no sense of possession towards anyone or anything, one should keep doing one's duty without feeling agitated. Vigatajvaraha yudhyasva, you fight this war, Arjuna, and for others, says you keep on doing your duties. See, karma karne, if we learn how to perform our actions properly, and if we gain that joy and happiness while performing action, then we will remain happy throughout our life. If we know how to become happy in the present moment, then you will be happy always, because you only experience present moment. We never experience past or future, or we never live in the past and future. We are always present in the present moment. But unfortunately, our mind takes us into the past or into the future. So if we know how to experience that joy, that contentment, that happiness, peace in the present moment through our work, and what type of attitude? That I am a sevak of Ishvara, that I am doing this for Ishvara. It's such a great honor. Ishvara, who is the master of this entire cosmos, who is the great Lord, who is Sarvantaryami, Sarvajna, Sarvashaktiman, I am his sevak. It's such a great honor. So if we have that attitude and work in that way, our chitta shuddhi will take place, our mind will start becoming more and more pure, and we don't have to wait for the result to come. While working itself, we are happy. Result is like a bonus. आ गया नया की फर्क पैंदा. I am happy. That is the thing. In the present, just living itself will give us joy. Just existing itself will give us joy. Now actually existing is not giving us joy because we are waiting for some result to come. Just breathing doesn't give us joy. Walking doesn't give us joy. But once we develop this karma yoga attitude, just the present moment itself will give us joy. This you should see. Some animal, birds, plant, you can see the yajna bhavana in them. In the birds, in the animals, in some nature, sometimes you will see that great joy in that present moment itself. So this we can attain by following this path of karma yoga. So performing our duties as a service of Ishvara, remaining free from all attachment, free from expectation, free from sense of possession, free from any agitation. Keep on working. Further, Bhagavan says, Ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyantaha muchyante tepi karmavihi ye me matamidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha Bhagwan says that those who follow this teaching of mine, of performing our karmas, our duties as offering to Ishvara, those who eme matam idam nityam anutishtanti manava, those human beings, because all this teaching is given to human beings only. See, animal, birds, plant, they don't have any scriptures, they don't have any temples, they don't have any gurus, they don't have any of this sort. They are directly guided by Ishvara, one-to-one relationship है उनके साथ. But for human beings, this special arrangement is made, because special equipments are given to us. Our buddhi is there. We have choice. We can choose. Animals actually they can't choose. Lot of things are ordained for them. But human beings have choice. We can choose. We can choose to become free, become liberated, or we can choose to get more and more entangled in this world. So all this advice, the scriptural advice is given to the human being. So Bhagavan says, Manavaha, those human beings, Anutishtanti me matam, those who follow my teaching sincerely, Nityam, constantly, 24 hours. How? Shraddhavantaha, having deep faith in my teaching. That Bhagavan has said, so it must be true, it must be good for me, it must be for my welfare. With intense faith in the teachings of Bhagavan. See, we should have faith in our scriptures, the Vedas, and all the derived scriptures, the Puranas, the Itihas, Ramayana, Mahabharata, all these things. And they guide us. They guide in their own way. To understand their guidance also some teacher is required. Otherwise we might get confused. Many people get more confused after reading some of the scriptures. So a guide is required. Just like we have our other science, like medical science, just by buying one book on medicine and reading from that, and if I start taking medicine, it will not help. Similarly, all the scriptures, they are guide, but a teacher is also required who teaches us how to understand the scriptures and follow them properly. So Bhagavan says, those who have faith in me and anasuyantaha, those who don't criticize or find faults in me, in my teaching. Those who don't find fault in my teaching, those who don't criticize me and my teaching, such people, when they follow this teaching, muchyante te bi karma bihi, they will also ultimately become free of all karmas. They will attain the state of enlightenment. If you follow this path with faith, without finding fault, you will also, all these people will also reach that state of enlightenment. Hence, we should follow this. More is, a lot of things are said. Now we will meditate for some time. More time. Because after listening, all that has to enter and we have to digest. थोड़ा उसको digest करना पड़ता है. So after listening, you might have some questions also. Lot of questions might come in your mind. So let me give you one idea. You can write it down in a neat handwriting, your question. And we can keep a box here. कल यहाँ पर box रख दो. You can just deposit your question in that box. I will read them, and those questions which I feel are in tune and relevant, as the subject goes on developing, I will answer those questions. Some questions will get answered automatically. Some questions are similar, so they might, if answer to one question is given, the other question you will get your answer to your question also. So in this way, we can have some question answer sessions also in between. Okay, so that we'll do from tomorrow. Whatever question you have, You write it down briefly, because कभी कभी बड़ा thesis होता है question का. So just briefly you can write, and then we'll see. So now we will meditate. In this meditation you have to understand mainly the difference between Prakriti and Purusha. So you are Purusha. You might say, no, I am Stri. Whether you are Stri or Purusha, all of us are Purusha. So you are the Purusha, and the body, mind, intellect, all this equipment are Prakriti. We have to understand through this meditation that without me doing anything, actions are happening in the Prakriti. And one of the things which happens non-stop, even when I am asleep, even when you are unconscious or whatever, breathing goes on. Breathing is the most interesting factor. All these are interesting, but breathing, even when you are not involved, even when you are forgetful, breathing goes on. What does it mean? Breathing happens in Prakriti. I identify with it and say, I am breathing. You are not breathing. Breathing is happening. So that much also, if we can become aware, then you will know the difference between Purusha and Prakriti. So close your eyes. Bring your whole attention in the present moment. Relax your body. Relax your mind. Bring your attention in the present moment. Now become aware of your body. Become aware of all the sensations on the body. Become aware of your entire body, starting from your feet. Mentally go through your whole body and become aware of it. You are that consciousness, and you can become aware of each and every part of your body. Feel the body totally relaxed. Feel the mind also relaxed. When the mind is withdrawn from the past and the future, the mind becomes more relaxed. Now become aware of your breathing. It's one of the most mysterious happening We are born with our breath, and it goes on, the breathing goes on. And day and night, breathing goes on. Whether you are happy or unhappy, whether you are aware or not aware, the breathing goes on. Even when we are in deep sleep, breathing goes on. Just become aware of your breathing. Let the breathing just happen, and you observe like a child observing, like a scientist observing. You observe the breath coming in the body and going out of the body in the most beautiful rhythm. The breathing just happens. I am the observer of this breathing. I am not connected to the breathing. I am totally different. I am the Purusha. Breathing is happening in Prakriti. Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.